What's going on, everybody? This is your friend Killer Con Chung from Concept Barbershop out here in San Jose, California. You heard me? I'm back. I've been busy. Today we'll be doing a number 4 with the grain taper on the side and on the neck. Before I cut the client, I like to comb the hair straight forward. Also, this allows you to see if the client has any bumps or any moles on the head that you should be careful with. Right now I'm using the magic clip with the number 4 guard, and I'm just going with the grain. I like to go with the grain when the hair is growing forward and laying flat on the head. This keeps the hair flat on the head, and it helps prevent frizz. You can also go with a number 8 against the grain, but in my opinion, I prefer to go with the grain with the number 4. After that, I like to take down the side just a little bit, and here I'm using the number 2 open. Now, unless your client specifically asks for one number all around, I like to take the side down a little bit to prevent it from having the round shaped head. Unless your client asks for the blowout taper, then in that case you want to keep one number all around. But in this case, I like to take it down just a little bit. And as I go lower on the hair, I close the guard. Before you cut your client, make sure you check your tools to see if it's hot or if it's sharp. Check it on yourself first before you test it on your client. Right now I'm doing the neck taper, and I like to create the upside down U, and I fade upward, keeping that shape. We do this so that we can keep the neckline dark when we do line it up. Alright, so I have the magic clip all the way closed, and I'm taking it up, setting in the ball line, and as I work up, I open up the lever about 1/4 of the way. And every time I open up the lever, I fade up about 1/4 of an inch. So every guard or every blade is about 1 inch at most. Alright, I work this all the way around, keeping the upside down U shape, work it up, and I open up the lever 1/4 of the way, and I move up another 1/4 of an inch. And I'll repeat this step back and forth with the 0 guard, the 1 guard, and the 1.5 guard. The same technique. The higher up you go with the guard, the more flicking out you want to do, because the more flicking out, the more wrist work you do, the more of a blend you'll have. In the beginning, I like to dig deep so that you can have a clean, sharp cut, but as you go up, you want to flick out to create the blend. Alright, and it's the same technique. I open up 1/4 of the way, and I go up about 1/4 of an inch. As you can see, my wrist work is a little bit softer, a little bit more swift, like Taylor. Now I'm with the number 1 guard, and again, in this angle right here, I'm using just the corner of the clipper. Now I'm on to the 1.5 guard, and again it's the same technique, and as you can see, I'm doing more of a flicking out C motion to create the blend. Alright, flicking out so you can create the blend. At the bottom of the taper, you want to dig deep closer to the skin. As you go up, you want to flick out. Alright. Right here I'm using the Phillips Norelco, and what I'm doing is I'm balding on the inside of the taper. As you can see, the middle of the taper now is lighter than the outer edge of the taper, and so what this does is it helps make your taper pop. So I create a little circle, ball circle right there, and then I'm back, and I'm gonna fade that line out. It's like doing a taper within a taper, and this will help make your taper pop out. So when you do line them up, it'll pop out even more. One thing I want to advise to the young barber is to control your client's conversation. Alright, if you notice that your client is talking about a subject that is a little bit inappropriate or a little bit offensive to some people, it's your job and it's your duty to control and lead the conversation. If he's talking about something inappropriate, control and lead the conversation into a different direction. Maybe ask him about sports. Maybe ask him about the weather. Maybe ask him about what his plans are. Change the subject and lead the subject. Lead the conversation. Alright? Especially if you have kids and women in the shop. Out of respect, we should control and lead the conversation into something more positive or just a lighter subject matter. Alright, right here I'm doing the side taper. And again, it's the same technique as you did with the neck taper. But because the space that you're working with is smaller, use just the corner of the clipper. Create that upside down U shape and keep that outline as you fade up. But use just the corner of the clipper, because when you use just the corner of the clipper, it allows you to control more. It gives you more control of what you're doing. Right here I have the 1 guard, and I'm just flicking up. The higher up you go, the more you want to flick out to create the blend. And right here I have the 1.5 guard. I try to stick with the same clipper and the same guard throughout all of my haircuts, because I feel like if you jump around clippers and jump around guards, it could throw you off a little bit, because these measurements for the guards aren't all the same. And again, what you did on the other side, you want to do the same thing on this side. As you can see, I'm using just the corner of the clipper. For the sake of time, I won't show these steps, but it's the same steps as before. Alright, and what I'm doing right here is I'm checking to see if both taper are level with each other. You want to make sure the height of the taper are about the same on both sides before you move on. Another thing I want to add is that the music in the shop controls the vibe of the shop. Whoever is in charge of the music or whoever is playing the music in the shop controls the vibe of the shop. If you're playing aggressive music, the vibe of the shop will be aggressive. If you're playing softer, gentle, more, general music, it'll be a lighter atmosphere. Try it. Turn on some 90s R&B and see what happens to the vibe of the shop. I guarantee, first thing that's most likely going to happen is somebody's going to joke around and say something like, "Oh, you must be in love. Is everything alright? Do we need to talk?" But they're joking. But right off the bat, it's changed the vibe of the shop. My point is, whoever's in charge of the music controls the vibe of the shop. Check it out. Try it for yourself. Right here I'm doing the lineup, and what I did is I start right in the middle with the Wahl SideKick, and I work towards the side that's up higher, and then I start right back again in the middle and I take it to the other side. But if you notice, I'm face to face with the client, and the only thing that's moving is the cutting hand. You want to stay in focus with the starting point right in the middle, and do a little bit at a time and check as you go. Cut and check, cut and check. And right here I'm doing the side of the lineup, and you want to angle your clipper in an outward angle. Don't take your clipper straight downward, angle it outward. Alright, make sure you get the corners sharp. Alright, and before I move on to the lineup right here, what I did right there is I compared it to the other side to see what side is up higher. And in this case, his left side is higher than the right side. So I'm going to start over here first. And again, I'm using just the corner of the clipper, the Wahl SideKick. And a little bit at a time to create the hooks as I go. And again, you do the same thing on the other side, but make sure you check both sides to make sure that the corners are level with each other. There it is. And then the important thing is the line behind the neck, the neckline. Again, when you do detail work and you want control over what you're doing, you want to use just the corner of the tool. Hold the ear out the way. You want to tap a little bit as you go, and also check to see what you're doing. So let go of the ear and check to see what you're doing before you move on. And again, it's the same thing on this side. Remember to set the starting point at its highest point, and that's usually right above the ear. You want to take this line out and away from the ear, and also back and behind the ear. Just remember to move the ear out the way so that the clipper doesn't cut it. Alright, and if you notice, as I'm going back and to the left, I'm using the left corner of the clipper. And if I were to go up and to the right, I would use the right corner of the clipper. And now we're going to move on to the razor lineup. This will help make your lineup look way better than it did before. This will clean up everything that you need to clean up to make it look better than it did. Just remember to have a thumb or a finger right above the razor to stretch out the skin. In barber school, I was scared to use this, but my friend just told me you just gotta do it and you get better at it. Just remember to lay the razor flat so that it doesn't cut the client. You don't want the razor standing at a 90-degree angle. You'll definitely nick your client. So again, to sum everything up, you want to test the temperature and the sharpness of your clipper before you place it on your client. Control and lead the conversation that you're having with your client into something more suitable for the shop. And whoever is in charge of the music is in charge of the vibe of the shop. If you're playing something aggressive, you'll have an aggressive vibe. If you're playing something happy, you have a happy vibe. Peace. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it. I'll be back with more videos. Check out the description and see all the links for the tools and the credits for the music. Thank you so much. Peace.